Hey everybody, this is Briz with Brizness Gaming, where there are no screams and no memes, it's just business with Brizness. If a calm, adult discussion about video games and other nerd indulgences sound like your cup of tea, stick around because today we're going to be talking about the upcoming AEW video game and what fans, or more specifically I, would like to see when the game launches. So without further ado, let's get to it. Now firstly, we already know a little bit about the game and what we can expect from it. Check out my previous video where I break that down if you need the lowdown on that. I'll link it in the description below just in case. With that being said, let's get into the first thing I'd like to see, and that is a campaign that harkens back to the No Mercy days or PS2 SmackDown days, where there are custom-written stories with branching paths and narratives. With today's graphics, proper voice acting from the AEW roster, and some talented writers thrown at it, you could have something really special. Focus on a good story, focus on replayability, put Easter eggs, put unlockables. If you want your game to feel like No Mercy, then make it feel like No Mercy. Not just in the way it controls, though definitely that too, but the feeling and the enjoyment that it brings you. Fans don't have to get lost in the nostalgia for an old wrestling game if you're able to recapture that same magic in a new wrestling game. Next, put less of an emphasis on simulation and put more emphasis on fun. Now, from what we know, things are hopefully headed in that direction, but it bears repeating. It doesn't matter how flashy or realistic your wrestling game is, if it isn't fun, then no one is going to want to play it for any substantial amount of time. I hate to sound like a broken record, but there is a reason people wear the nostalgia goggles so hard for those Nintendo 64 and PS2 era wrestling games. They were really fucking fun. They were fast, they were a little exaggerated, they didn't take themselves too seriously. They were just meant to be fun and nothing else, and that is exactly what they were. Now, one of my biggest complaints about the WWE 2K series is that the controls somehow simultaneously feel too complicated, yet still somehow very limiting. They just don't feel intuitive. I think most fans would prefer to go back to a simple system that is easy to understand, yet is deeper than its outer layer suggests. When you take the context of specific situations and ring location into account, a simple yet intuitive system can become something a lot more. This comes back to the fun factor. I don't want to have to think about what my hands are doing, I just want to know that I can do it fast, and do it easily. Now, all this fun gameplay is great, but we all know it has to go hand in hand with a deep customization suite. This being AEW's first outing into the console video game world, I don't think it's realistic for us to expect the ability to create wrestlers, arenas, belts, finishers, and everything in between right off the bat. But the more they are able to squeeze in, and the more detailed it is, the better. People want to create. The creation community for wrestling games is truly something to behold. If you give them capable tools, they can sometimes outdo the game developers themselves. It really is incredible. This has become such a deep-rooted aspect of wrestling game fandom that to not deliver on this aspect could become a swift kick out the door for the game before it even makes its way through it. This really is a make-or-break piece of the puzzle for wrestling games. I think I can speak for most everyone when I say that most people don't enjoy having to buy a new iteration of a sports game every single year. I would love to see AEW break the mold here and dare to be bold and the consumer-friendly heroes that we need. Go big, go all out. See what I did there? Don't release a new game every year. Release the game, then update it. Update the roster, update the arenas. Make a living universe mode where players can play out each week's Dynamite card or pay-per-view card. Do this, everybody wins. The fans don't have to shell out $60 every single year for regurgitated content. The developers get much longer development cycles to make sure each game they deliver is truly better than the last. And it gives people incentive to keep coming back to the game because it's constantly updating and changing dynamically as the real-life product changes. I think this is truly every wrestling game fan's dream. This next point is a big one for me personally. Get the roster to mocap their own moves and entrances. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. You've played the 2K games and thought to yourself, well, I guess all the correct aspects and movements are there, but something still feels off. Go for true authenticity. If you want me to actually feel like I'm Britt Baker, D&D, shoving my gloved hand into somebody's mouth, then mocap Britt Baker shoving her gloved hand into somebody's mouth. If you want to feel like Orange Cassidy nonchalantly shuffling my way to the ring, then actually mocap Orange Cassidy nonchalantly shuffling his way to the ring. People, and especially fans of something, can tell when something is off. And there is always that feeling in wrestling games. For the first time, make one that is truly authentic. And lastly, I want it, you want it, we all want it. A plethora of match types. Yes, we all know the basics will be there, but AEW may have its work cut out for it in this regard. A lot of the most famous gimmick matches are trademarks of WWE, so AEW will have an uphill battle to fight here. They simply have not had that many distinct to AEW match types on television yet. I suppose the holy grail here would be a Stadium Stampede match in the game. If they could pull that off, they could pretty much pull anything off, I think. But they do have a few others to pull from, such as the Mimosa Mayhem match and the Casino Battle Royales. But there are plenty of standard affair match types to pull from that AEW has incorporated into their shows, such as ladder matches, strap matches, cage matches, and last man standing matches. AEW were originally planning their version of War Games match so they could even implement that. Even without WWE's vast database of match types, they have enough to provide a good amount of variation. Oh, and who could forget the Cracker Barrel Clash? So those are my personal wants, and that's it for the video. Is there something you'd like to see added that I didn't cover? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoy the video, be sure to give it a like as it really helps the channel out. And if you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.